Alright, so several people have asked me about how I have the LED signs powered. All the LED signs. I have this, I don't know, battery that I got at Micro Center, which I have plugged into the charger here, so it stays nice and charged, and it's got different inputs for USB and AC outlets, and then I have that fed into a USB jumper, or USB hub, I should say. I was previously using these DeWalt batteries with USB adapters on them, but these were running out and I got tired of throwing them on the charger every time, so this type of setup actually works really well. And yeah, basically go back there when I drive and turn that stuff on, and then we've got lots of fun lights to troll the douchebags and hopefully get some more subscribers on my channel. That was interesting. It would not let me do the start from Park FSD. Ship out the t-shirts tomorrow, I also have a calendar that I got for Angela with some fish related goodness, so if you wouldn't mind getting that to her at some point, I'd appreciate it.
so they last longer, faster, stronger, longer. CFRO sparks are right for you.
Thank you for spending this Monday with us. We are, as always, so grateful. The Beat with the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Steele, in for Ari starts. You missed me. Couldn't stay away.
I did. I really did. I was trying to make some faces in the prompter to get you to crack up, but you're so professional. You're so good. I do appreciate you.
That's the truth.
Thanks, Alicia. Welcome to The Beat. I'm Michael Steele, in for Ari Melber. We start tonight, folks, with the escalating clash over the controversial deportation flights, where an appeals court heard arguments over Trump's implementation of the Wartime Alien Enemies Act today, with judges hammering the Justice Department attorney.
There were plane loads of people. There were no procedures in place to notify people. Nazis got better treatment under the Alien Enemy Act than has happened here.
Your Honor, we certainly dispute the Nazi analogy.
People don't go through a trial in this country without getting the gold standard of due process. And that was not happening here. The president has to comply with the Constitution and laws like everybody else.
On that, we certainly agree, Your Honor.
Earlier today, the judge presiding over the case defending his block on deportations under the act for the alleged gang members, writing, each plaintiff is, quote, entitled to individualized hearings before deportation. This as Trump continues to lose in court, last week facing a major blow to his agenda, and this week already amassing even more losses. Joining me now is Ankush Kadori, former federal prosecutor and senior writer for Politico magazine, and Libby Casey, senior news anchor for The Washington Post. So Ankush, I want to start with you on what the judge said, the gold standard. And the gold standard, it's certainly in criminal defense cases, is due process, right? So let's listen to what the appeal court's judge had to say about going forward without due process. Let's listen.
If the government says we don't have to give process for that, y'all could have picked me up on Saturday and thrown me on a plane, thinking I'm a member of Nicaragua and giving me no chance to protest it and say somehow it's a violation of presidential war powers for me to say, excuse me, no, I'm not. I'd like a hearing.
That last about going forward without due process. Let's listen.
If the government says we don't have to give process for that, y'all could have picked me up on Saturday and thrown me on a plane, thinking I'm a member of Nicaragua and giving me no chance to protest it and say somehow it's a violation of presidential war powers for me to say, excuse me, no, I'm not. I'd like a hearing.
That last part, right? Wrapping everything around federal war powers to the exclusion of a constitutional right that we have known as due process.
Yeah, and she's spot on there. And, I think it's worth emphasizing the very narrow concept that she is talking about and that Judge Boasberg are talking about. They're not saying you can't ever do this. They're not even yet saying that the law is unconstitutional. They may at some point, who knows. They're just saying there needs to be some sort of process for these people to contest their designation under this law so that, for instance, you do not make a mistake, which was a frightening proposition. The notion that even one person may have been incorrectly designated and now is thrust into this legal black hole with possibly no recourse to get out. That is what due process, even the most minimal due process, is supposed to help us sort out so that judges can adjudicate the disagreements between the government and the defendant.
Well, and it's that piece of it that I think is the most interesting, Libby, is this administration is coming in and basically saying, well, all of this executive power that the president has, and we are at war, I guess, apparently with Venezuela, but nobody's told the Venezuelans. So there's that. But you do have the Post making note of the fact that the judges seem to be drawing the very, very important lines that I think a lot of folks have been waiting maybe Congress to draw. But you have, for example, the headline, over a dozen judges have ruled Trump administration has likely broken the law. More than a dozen judges have said Trump and company probably broke the law. The total works out to one such finding about every 4 days. So here's my question. So what?
So Donald Trump and his team want this to be a fight. Let's go back to the deported Venezuelans who were not, let's remember, sent back to Venezuela. They were sent to a maximum security hardcore prison. So imagine if you're not someone who's in a gang. In fact, what if you were fleeing those gangs and coming to the United States to work? They were all on the radar. They had court hearings. They were in the system. One of my colleagues reported that families of 4 of the men say they were swept up just because they have tattoos that were about family and things like that. And that was part of the
soccer league
that was part of the justification. So Trump and his team, like the borders are, for example, want people to think this is judges getting in the way of national security, getting in the way of Donald Trump protecting you from these gang members. And what the judges are saying is, let's look at the law. And what we see in a lot of cases across the country, in district courts in various states, and in the national level, saying, well, wait, let's go back to the law. And what is the process to let go of these probationary federal employees? What is the without their hearings? And so that's where things are kind of gumming up the works.
Vehicle departing lane, take control immediately. I'm in a freaking parking lot. Dumb car.
We're following the law and we're going to go through this process.
And it's that part, we're following the law, we're trying to stop bad things from happening under the law, which shouldn't happen, which means you just can't understand it and come into the studio, grab the 3 of us, and just take us off, put us on a plane, and send us to a maximum security prison in another country. There's a process, but that was very much a part of the government lawyer today was tripping all over himself, trying to get it back. Well, 5 people, they did that.